So Alice Through the Looking Glass just came out last month with a poor box office rating and terrible reviews. And there's one question that I have with this movie. And it's not that it's unnecessary. One question. Why the hell is it called Alice Through the Looking Glass? I mean, no one seems to question this. Why not just call it Alice Race Against Time? Why? Well, that's what I'm about to talk about. Hello guys, I'm Ty, which means out of Terran City, and welcome to the Perfect, the Good, the Bad, and the Worst movie reviews. Here I'm about to take a look at the movie that everyone was anticipating, everyone was hugely anticipating, which was Alice Through the Looking Glass. And yeah, the first movie, but kidding though, you obviously know what happened about the first movie. It's got mixed reviews from critics, audiences seem to like it a little bit more, but it was able to be a huge success at the box office. It was able to make $1 million, so it would be weird for a sequel like this to be released just 6 years after the first movie. Wow. Now, the first movie I thought was good. I liked the first movie. It was fun, it was okay, it had its moments. Yeah, it was fine. The actors were good. Even the some were a little bland. The animation was beautiful. It's a well-shot movie. Some of the sets and costumes look nice. Benny Upper's music is great, but the script and the story is very cliche, and some of the dialogue is very cringeworthy. So yeah, it was a fine movie, just nothing special. With the second film, you would think that they would kind of take the problems that people have with the first movie and try and improve on it. Instead, they make the sequel, which everyone says is even worse than the other movie. Reviews are even worse. The box office is poor. Its opening weekend, I think, was like $9 million. I think, I don't know, I could be wrong. But point was, it was just getting a bad word of mouth. But I saw the film regardless, even though the trailers weren't gripping me. From what I think of it, I can just tell you right now, it's worse. It's worse than the first movie. It's not good. But it's not bad. That's the surprising thing. There's some things I like about this movie. There's some things I absolutely love about this movie. But there's other things about this movie that I hate. And we'll get into that later. The plot of this movie, the plot of Through the Looking Glass, which I think is a stupid title. The movie picks up just years after the first movie. Alice Kingsley, played by Mia Wasikowska, she's a sea captain now, and she's doing all these stuff. She goes back to London, I think, and there's just some whole problem going on with that. Then she's met by Absalom, voiced by the late Alan Rickman, who tells her that Hatter is not as he is because he found this piece that belongs to his family. They think could probably be alive or dead, and so he's starting to get ill. So in order for him to not be ill, they have to travel back in time and make him unill. And the only way to do that is to get this chronosphere from Sacha Baron Cohen, who plays Time in this movie. And so she takes that, and she has to go rescue the Hatter. Okay, that's simple. But then again, the whole sea captain subplot is thrown in, even though it disappears for the whole hour of the movie until it's back in it disappears for like the whole hour and 20 minutes, I think. and then it comes back. All the while that's all going on, we got this whole, the Red Queen is back, and there's this whole plot of hers and the whole story is just a jumbled mess. That's all it is. And look, a movie with a ton of stuff going on can be fine. A movie with a ton of storyline can be fine, but you need the right kind of writer and director to juggle these stories, to balance it, and to give us a cohesive, simple to follow storyline. The problem is that we don't have that. We just have this very convoluted film. What makes the film even worse is that whereas the first film screenplay was just fine, this one is bad. It's bad. The first film was terrible. The story was cliche, but it wasn't annoying. This one just seemed, I don't know, it just doesn't work. The good stuff. The actors are fine. They do better-ish. Mia Wasikowska does a far better job than she did in the first movie. In the first movie, she kind of just had this blank expression. Here, she seems to show a bit more emotion than she did last time, which was a somewhat improvement. Johnny Depp, he's pretty much just playing Jack Sparrow. That's all I can say. He has a few good moments. His first scene in the film is easily the best scene in the film. That's weird. And there's some good scenes with the other people. The other actors do a fine job, even if they clearly have nothing to do. Sacha Baron Cohen has time. He's easily my favourite character in the film. His character is likable, he's entertaining, and he sees where the other characters are good. He's the best thing about this movie. It's just a shame that he's not in the film that much. He doesn't have much of an involvement, and as a villain, he's not much of a convincing villain. And plus, by the time we get to the final act, he takes a back seat to the character who surprisingly is here, the Red Queen, played by Helena Bonham Carter. What the hell was she doing in this movie? What is she doing in this movie? If you guys don't know, in the first movie, she was a villain, and I liked her, but in the second movie, I don't know what she's doing in this film. I have a feeling that she was just included because it's an Alice in Wonderland story, and she's gotta be in it. Because one thing I'm trying to get at is the villain should have just been time. But it seems like it's just because this is Alice in Wonderland story, we need the Red Queen in the story, and because of that, time has to end up taking the back seat. So that the best villain of the film has to take a back seat to one of the worst villains in the film. Because I don't like Helena Bonham Carter in this film. She's too over the top, which would be fine. But the problem is that they try to give backstory to a character, they try to develop a character, and they try to add these emotional scenes to try and, make her work. And you know what? This would have been fine. But the problem is that either Helena Bonham Carter was incredibly miscast, or maybe because of poor direction by James Bobbin, the director of this movie. They've got the wrong person to play this type of character here. She's just not developed well. Every time they try to give her an emotional scene, she has to overact. She can't act. Yeah. Had no purpose here. What was her point? What was the point of her? What's she doing in this movie? What's she doing? What was her purpose in this film? Oh, right. She had to do it because we need a final act to have her, because she has a flipping motivation that is going to be the centerpiece around the third act of this movie, because, oh my god, damn it. There's no point. I'm fine with you developing your villains. And I'm fine with the Red Queen being in this movie, but the Red Queen has no purpose here. She should not have been in this movie. We took care of her in the first movie. And plus, they've got the wrong actor for this they probably got the wrong actor or the wrong director. Because, again, they try to give her emotion. But she just overacts. And yeah, that's, sorry guys, just long rant, but I just don't like her in this movie. She was the wrong choice to be in this movie. She should not, and that's pretty much the biggest problem in this movie. This film should have just probably have been a simple, story of Alice trying to save the happy family and making them happy while time is going after her. There you go. That's a simple story right there. But no, we've got this whole sea thing. We've got this whole sea captain bullcrap here that's in the first 10 minutes of this movie that disappears for the majority of the movie here up to the last 5 minutes, and then you've got the Red Queen's whole plot, which ends up taking the main plot of the film a backseat, so we can focus on that, and that ends up causing this gigantic plot hole that ends up ruining everything about the first movie. And sorry, yeah. So anyway, let's go back to the positives. The CGI is nice, although it's more obvious than the first movie. It's too colorful, which, okay, color, I'm fine with it being colorful, but you need to make your CGI at least good, and the CGI is too noticeable when you see it. But there's some good CGI effects. The sets are nice, the costumes are nice, and there's some good themes here. Danny Elfman's score is great. It's very forgettable. Overall, there's just not much to say about this movie. Alice Through the Looking Glass. The first 2 acts of this movie, yeah, as you know, scrap that. Another problem with the film is just the title. That's actually something that's been bothering me for at least the first half hour of the film. Why was it called Alice Through the Looking Glass? I mean, you think with a film involving time travel, you think the film would just call itself Alice Race Against Time, which that's what the film should have been called. But hey, overall, Alice Through the Looking Glass is just a mediocre film. There's some things about this movie I like. The actors do a fine job, except for Helena Bonham Carter, who is bad in this movie. The music is forgettable, but fine. The CGI is nice, but too noticeable. The sets and costumes are nice, if very barely. And the story is interesting, but there's other stories taken over, and third act of this movie, yeah, that's what I can say. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself and all. I just don't know. You know what? Screw it. Alice Through the Looking Glass. It starts off well, but it ends poorly. I'm going to give it a mediocre rating, aka low rental. Thank God that was over with. Before I never get past that piece of crap. I mean, no, I was just messing with you guys.